Uhuru, Uhuru, everyone. Welcome to White Solidarity with Black Power Live, a monthly event hosted by the African People's Solidarity Committee. The original topic of today's program was going to be how to stand with the Black community to stop deed theft. And we have postponed that program. We will find another date to have that important discussion. But following the oral arguments held just last week in Atlanta in the case of the Uhuru Three, who were appealing their wrongful conviction for conspiring to act as unregistered Russian agents. We thought there was some urgency to discussing that, putting out the important summations given by Chairman Amali Yeshitela and others involved in that incredibly important free speech case. So my name is Brendan McCoy. I'm a member of the African People's Solidarity Committee, and we are under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. So I want to first salute our leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, as well as Deputy Chair Onisene Yeshitela, who has put on the ground Chairman Omali Yeshitela's vision of the Black Power Blueprint and who leads the more than 50 economic institutions of the party. The African People's Socialist Party formed APSC in 1976 with the mandate to organize other white people to build the movement of reparations and genuine solidarity with the liberation of African people. And this year, this is APSC's 50th year organizing white solidarity with Black Power. Before we get started, I just want to say if you're tuning in on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe so you can get alerts whenever we go live or post a new video. If you're tuning in on Facebook, please share this live stream with your friends and let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. We'll have a Q&A later in the program, so take notes on your questions in the comments on YouTube or Facebook or in the Q&A feature for those joining us on Zoom today. I also want to let everyone know that this event, as always, is a fundraiser for the Uhuru Solidarity Center, where I am today. This is the national headquarters of the APSC and the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. It's a beautiful organizing center located on the south side of St. Louis with a banner outside that reads, "Unity through Reparations." This building is owned by the party's Black Star Industries, and we have a goal to raise at least $500 tonight. So please go to apscuhuru.org/donate to make a contribution. And I just want to say right off that I am going to pledge $50 towards that goal. And now I want to welcome APSC Chairwoman Penny Hess. Uhuru. So Chairwoman Penny
Uhuru.
was
Uhuru,
present.
Brendan.
Uhuru.
Thank you.
Well, let me give you a proper
Okay, go
introduction
ahead.
and context. So Chairwoman Penny was present when the African People's Socialist Party held the founding conference of the Solidarity Committee in the fall of 1976 and has been a cadre member of the African People's Solidarity Committee ever since. In 2001, she published the groundbreaking book, Overturning the Culture of Violence, which under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela detailed the complicity and participation of white people in the historical assaults and colonial violence against African and other oppressed peoples. She is one of the Uhuru Three, who, along with Chairman Omali Yeshitela and USM Chair Jesse Neville, have stood strong against that U.S. government attack on the African People's Socialist Party. Uhuru Chairwoman Penny, we salute your stance of solidarity with the African liberation struggle and for reparations. And I will go ahead and turn it over to you to lead us through, give us a summation of the oral arguments last week. Uhuru.
Uhuru, Brendan. Really want to salute you and thank you for that introduction. Want to salute Comrade Lisa, and who's helps, really coordinates and produces the show in such a powerful way. And I want to salute everybody who's on. And I also want to salute my leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela and Deputy Chair Onisene Yeshitela. And I just want to salute the powerful interview by comrades Wendy and Kara out in the Bay Area of Deputy Chair Onisene Yeshitela that was on KPFA. I believe it aired today. It was, wow. Really just drawing out the brilliant incredible vision of Deputy Chair Onizene in, talking about and making the distinction between fundraising and certainly, charity, but fundraising and what is genuine economic development in the hands of the African working class, and the role of the Reparations Investment Corporation, the RIC, that Uhuru Solidarity Movement and APSC are, really working on as our main campaign. So, just really want to salute that. It should be in the chat, this interview. It's really dynamic and brilliant. So it was very exciting to see that. And just to say, as we usually note, that this is a very intense and serious time in history when, as the chairman says, the colonial mode of production, the rising up of the colonized and oppressed peoples on the planet Earth is the driving force of this time in history. And, we see the intensifying war in the Middle East, the struggle against US imperialism, domination, and theft of the resources of the people of the Middle East. We see the US threatening and actively deporting 350,000 African people from Haiti, the ongoing attack on Haiti, and basically the ongoing war against African people here inside the US and around the world. So, just really, again, want to welcome everybody here and to say that this is July 29th, 2026. This is 4 years since the raids. 4 years ago this morning, we were awakened at 5 a.m. by US government military forces using electric battering rams to break down the doors of our home, my home, that I shared with Comrade Kitty Riley, the homes of Chairman O'Malley Chattel and Deputy Chair Ona in St. Louis, and their home in St. Pete, the Uhuru Solidarity Center in St. Louis, Jesse and Amanda's home upstairs from that, and the Uhuru house in Florida, as well as Director Akile's house in St. Petersburg. So, there was 7 different attacks coordinated at exactly the same time, 5 a.m. for St. Louis, 6 a.m. on the Eastern time for Tampa and St. Pete. And during that raid, they took our phones, they took our computers, they held us at gunpoint for 7 hours in each place. They, for us, for Kitty and myself, it was in our living room. We had to sit on the couch while they had handguns and rifles, assault weapons, basically assault weapons. And they were, sort of marching back and forth in the hallway of our house with these weapons. And then there was uh, a woman who, I believe one of them, the FBI agent, one of them who was later, forced to testify in the trial. But anyway, she dropped her handgun and it bounced on the floor, a loaded gun. Anyway, this was the condition that we faced. There were numerous, I don't even know how many, agents that swarmed in each place. And you can see the videos sometimes of the Uhuru House in Florida. I mean, that must have had 30, 40 more. I mean, it was like an army of forces going in there. I know there there were several, if not, maybe 6 or 7 police and FBI vans outside of our house, and they had cordoned off the street. So, but so they sent troops in our house upstairs. I'm just talking about the experience that I had, but everybody had something similar. these agents went through our books, our drawers, our closets, and in a bookcase that I happen to have, there were 3 copies of the chairman's book, Omali Ishitella Speaks, together in a bookcase. They took a picture of that as supposed to be, that was shown in court by the FBI. That it was supposed to mean something. I don't know what, but it was supposed to be something where um, I, I couldn't even read a book. We couldn't even read them. But it clearly, as the chairman has summed up, this case was all about speech. It was about words. It was what we said and what we read. There was no violence, no threats, or anything like that. They wanted to silence Chairman Omali Yeshitela. They wanted to try to silence the African People's Socialist Party. They wanted to intimidate white solidarity, but they failed. And over the 4 years, the chairman built the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Fight Back Coalition, a brilliant fight back that is chaired by Mwezi Odom. And through this, the chairman and the work of also of Chair Mwezi, they built a worldwide movement of support and unity with hundreds of organizations and countless individuals standing with the Uhuru Three. And so, as has been said, we just got back a few days ago from Atlanta for the oral arguments, for the hearing of our appeal. And there were so many supporters there. They needed an overflow room. Just once again, so many people came out to stand with us. It was very, very powerful, and it shows, the profound support that the African liberation movement and the fight for reparations, the fight for the liberation of the African working class, Africa and African people everywhere. There were just scores and scores of people over the years who have stood with us. And certainly there were over 80 people who came out in Atlanta for those 2 days events. And so, as the chairman has said, when we fight, we win. And that was a tremendous victory. So, these are some of the presentations that we're going to hear tonight. And we know that everything that the chairman has fought for, that he has stated, that it has been speech only. It has been about the liberation of African people, the history of colonialism, the reality of how the US was built with the assault on Africa, the enslavement of African people, the theft of their labor, the genocide against the indigenous people, and just the vast colonial domination of the majority of the people on the planet Earth. And that, as we know, the chairman has called for reparations, a demand that Chairman Omali Yeshitela made the household word. So, again, we had a very, very excellent time in Atlanta. The appeal was led by our brilliant attorneys, led by and written by Leonard Goodman, just an amazing, amazing, powerful stand. Addie Griffin, who worked as the chairman's lawyer, Mutaki Akbar, Angela Rainey, and Tom Inskeep are powerful lawyers who, we're going to hear today, I believe, the presentation by Mutaki Akbar, which was so powerful. After the, we had a debriefing and sum up after the court hearing. So we're going to, I don't know, I see people are putting in colors here. I don't know what this means, but, we're we're going to discuss some of the clips from the oral argument summation, and, it's just powerful. So we're going to go into that segment of Uhuru. I'd like to join. Okay, so she's saying that I should ask Indigo to join the discussion at this time. Indigo is a member of the African People's Solidarity Committee. He was part of the Burning Spear media team that was in Atlanta covering the hearing and surrounding events. So we're glad to have you join us, Comrade Indigo. Uhuru.
Uhuru, Chairwoman Penny, it's a great honor to
Uhuru, yeah,
be
you
here.
were there. I know. It was so powerful to see you. And for me, it was a little bit of a blur. Like I knew a lot of people were there, but there was so much going on. But I knew that the support was there, and it was very, very powerful. I really also want to just really give a shout out and a salute to Natsu Saito and Ward Churchill, who coordinated so much of the activities, the event the night before at Georgia State School of Law, as well as the dinner that one of the professors, Mawuli Davis, donated, a delicious lunch. Actually, it was catered, and so many, just so many things that people did that it was very, very powerful. We're going to play some of these clips. The full videos are all available on Burning Spear TV YouTube channel. So let's go to our first clip.
Some people were distressed because of the concentration of the judges. It seemed to be when Comrade Attorney Leonard, was interrupted frequently and hit on this question of whether or not we had actually registered. The thing said the law is content neutral. Doesn't matter. And one time, I think during the trial, they said even if we were sharing menus, Russian menus, if we had been paid by Russia to do it, it would have been a crime. So that was evidence from their perspective, an example of how it was content neutral. So it had nothing to do with what we said. It's the fact that the Russians paid us to say it. And the evidence that the Russians paid us to say it, they said, was that the Russians made a contribution of $5,000. A Russian NGO, I should mention, non-governmental organization, made a contribution of $5,000 to a program that we were involved in. So $5,000 over 7 years, was it? Said over 7 years. Wow. Russia's in worse shape than we thought. We're in much worse shape than the Russians, if that's all it took, right? But I wanted to say that the motion to dismiss the charges, what was so magnificent about the motion that Lynn wrote, raised all the arguments that they kept to keep us from saying now. They raised all the arguments. See, but this was not some abstract thing. This is what they said. This is the African People's Social Party. This is their program. This is what they stand for. Boom, 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 boom. All done. Brilliant motion. Brilliant motion. So it's in the records and what have you. And then in the trial, we had a similar situation where these brilliant lawyers, I mentioned how Comrade Mataki opened up. His opening argument was Uhuru. Uhuru. That's the phrase. Uhuru said it several times. And he said Uhuru is Swahili for freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of assembly. So you're going to be hearing this word a lot during this case. And he also took on the Russia thing. He said this Russia is based on the presumption of prejudices that's been successfully embedded in the consciousness of people inside this country. Because, if you're old enough, you had to live during a time where you were so frightened that the Russians were going to bomb, drop the atomic bomb. They taught us in school to jump on your desk like there was going to be a desk left if the bomb had been dropped. I mean, we went through this, except so everybody's afraid of the Russians. And so this was, so Mataki took that on. And we did not run from who we are. We just tried to fix it so they couldn't run from who they're supposed to be. You understand? We didn't run from who we are. And Comrade Addie, Attorney Addie, she walks up and she objected every 30 seconds. She objected so much the judge started objecting for her, literally. He said, I know you're going to object to this, objection. So Didn't that happen in the court? The judge started objecting for her, and then she said, "We didn't run from who we are." Said that Omali Yeshitela cannot be bought. He's a revolutionary. We didn't say he's a card-carrying member of the NAACP and could never have. He's a revolutionary. And there's prestige in being a revolutionary. It said because this principle and that it cannot be bought. And I didn't want to take this dig at the NAACP because we got members of the NAACP and Mataki in addition. This is really interesting, our lawyers. I mentioned NAACP because he leads the NAACP, but his daddy is one of the most significant nationalists in the world. Naim Akbar is his daddy. You understand? And he grew up with Naim Akbar. And he brought that with him to this case, to this trial, and what have you, that upbringing. I mean, this resistance is deep and profound. It permeates virtually every community that we live in everywhere in the world. They have not stamped it out. They will not stamp it out. And so what happened is that this very important, you see people walking around with T-shirts with Che Guevara. Some of the same people who are anti-Cuba this, anti-communist this, because this is one of the last remnants of a principle that you can find. People stood for principle and fought for principle. And though they may have hated him, they may have hated the consequence being Cuba, Che Guevara, who said that's what? He said solidarity is not just a matter of what? Well-wishing, but of sharing the same fate, whether in victory or in death. That's what solidarity is. And what a profound, and this is something that people, Fidelismo and Che and what have you, these were remnants of a movement that stood up for the prestige of humanity. That's who we are. And they cannot intimidate us away from that. And so now, if you're supposed to be somebody who is a communist or a socialist, you're supposed to duck down. People went through that in the 1950s in this country, the so-called McCarthy era. And the Communist Party USA went underground, left the country, did all kinds of stuff. And there's a brother who a man who most of you in here probably know of. His name was Arthur Conoy, who was a lawyer, civil rights lawyer. And he was involved in trying to defend a lot of these people who were ducking out, going underground. And he said he was really despairing. And he got a phone call from Ella Baker. Y'all know who Ella Baker is? And he said that Ella Baker brought him, said, this is the work you should be doing. And what Ella Baker did was bring him into the struggle against colonialism. It was not the fight against fascism that destroyed McCarthyism or kept the society open. It was the struggle of Black people against colonialism that kept the society open. Every definition of democracy that you can find subsequent to that time in history throughout this country, African people have been in the vanguard of that. So I just wanted to say those things. And the courts will have to deal with everything that we have laid out and the arguments that we've made.
Uhuru. Are we summing that up? Sorry. Are we going to sum it up? Okay. So that is such a powerful opening or, statement by the chairman and really, making the point, among other things, that African people have been in the vanguard of every progressive change or, innovation or advance in this country and in the world, and just the significance of African people fighting for deliberation. And that is the context of the chairman fighting for anti-colonial free speech. So, it was powerful. People were they didn't want the chairman to stop talking. I mean, it was just so dynamic, so informative, and really electrifying.
Uhuru. Yes, thank you, Chairwoman Penny. Unite. It was very powerful to be there. Transformative experience. And I just want to salute the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, fighting for the liberation of everyone from colonialism. And the chairman, just the counteroffensive, the hands off Uhuru, hands off Africa, coalition and the whole fight back has been tremendous and so profound. And as the chairman has said, this was an attack on our right to hear, to understand,
Yes.
the perspective of the African working class. So it's just, I want to really appreciate, everyone who's contributed to this process, and definitely the leadership of the chairman of the Uhuru Three. And just say that I want to move forward the agenda and the strategy that the party has in fighting for anti-colonial free speech. It's really important, and it has implications for everyone, for all of us. So just salute the leadership of the party. Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you for that. And I also want to salute our comrade Jesse Neville, one of the Uhuru Three, who has done so much work on the case and on the research, and really worked a lot along with attorney Angela Rainey, among others, and doing a lot of research on the case. And he unfortunately couldn't be there, which it was very hard. It was hard for us, and I know it was hard for him. But he was there in spirit. He certainly, everybody was acknowledging him, and he did, as I said, he did so much to prepare for that moment of the appeal. So it was, his handprint was on it for sure.
Yes, definitely. Salute to Chair Jesse. His leadership is very profound and really significant in
Absolutely.
the whole process.
Yes.
So Uhuru.
Uhuru. All right. So, Lisa, are you the MC? Are you announcing the next clip?
Uhuru.
Brendan is. Okay.
So
Sorry.
I'm the MC, but I know this next clip. So it's another one from the chairman. So we'll go ahead and take a look.
And even though there was this really attempt to lock the struggle to the question whether we'd registered as foreign agents, which we had said that would have required us to commit perjury. To say we were foreign agents, that would have been perjurous. We're not foreign agents, never have been. But that tries to preserve the notion of the great democracy here. Here, the U.S. is the headquarters of democracy. Nothing could really be happening bad to black people in this country because this is democracy. So if somebody's saying something happened to black people bad, it's happened to black people, it's because somebody white told them to say it. The Russians told them to say it. And so you've got this inept African community, the little sillies. They even wrote books about this in the 1950s, how we were so vulnerable to communism. We were just these empty-headed people who the Russians can come and drop this nonsense on. So that was part of how it was that they've tried to describe everything. But we took this to them, and we took this case to them. We took all of the stuff we're talking about now. It's in the legal documents. It's not just something that I'm talking about. So the judge tried to keep us from, appeared to try to keep us from getting to some of these essential questions, but they're in the documents. They're in the arguments that you can access. But the thing that I found interesting also, not only the reference of the Israel, which I thought was an interesting reference, the illegitimate white nationalist state of Israel. But also, when the prosecution stood up and tried to deal with the question of how do you deal with and reconcile the verdict, the guilty verdict for conspiracy with the not guilty verdict on the foundational charge. And then the prosecution couldn't say anything. It was dumbfounded. It was stupefied. I found that extraordinarily interesting. And it seems to me that for me, that's part of what makes it possible for me to not be as pessimistic as some people may be, just based on this concentration on the question of whether or not we were registered agents. The fact that the court took the case in the first place, which I felt had to be significant. It seems to suggest that there's unresolved issues that have to be dealt with. Of course, they want
Uhuru, not sure what happened there. Seems like the audio. Yeah, something's off with that. I think we'll have to go to the next clip, unfortunately.
I do think it'd be good to just sum that one up a little bit, because I mean, for those listening, or who heard the hearing, what the chairman was mentioning there, the judge bringing up Israel, like that was a little unusual, and
everybody was kind of like,
yeah,
what?
it felt a little wild, and really, I thought kind of backed up our point. But
I know what was like, no, wait a minute, which side are you on?
Yeah.
What were they saying? It wasn't even clear what they were trying to say. They just wanted to inject that word.
Yeah.
And that was that the woman? That was the woman judge, right? Or I think it was. I'm not sure.
One of the guys but I mean, there
maybe
might have been
was.
maybe talking about it, bringing up that, because I feel like they said it a couple times.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense to me. I mean, you're not going to prosecute any of the people that have very solid public proof of acting as agents, but there's this group of people who you couldn't get a single witness to even make something up about them acting as Russian agents. You're prosecuting them, like. So I don't know. What do you think about that, Jerome?
I know it was kind of, I mean, and then there was the judge that was frowning and just all these facial expressions. And I asked Leonard, are they supposed to do that? Like, while Leonard was speaking, like the chairman said, I mean, they attacked him. And it wasn't like an objective statement. They really full on attacked him, saying that the main issue was not speech and not other things, but it was the fact that that we hadn't registered as Russian agents. And saying that, like, we said that we weren't. I mean, we've said that, and we weren't convicted of being a Russian agent even. And it's absolutely absurd that we were convicted of conspiring to be something that we weren't, but we weren't Russian agents. So, but it was almost like they were trying to retry this case in a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like calling into question the outcome of it in some ways.
And I think their goal was to emphasize that, like, this is a content neutral case, but I think they were making the point that it's not. Like, it's clearly not.
In a certain way, yeah. And I just think that, what the chairman was saying, that the significance of the fact that when the judges did ask why we were convicted of being something that we weren't, or however they said that. The guy was like, I don't know. I remember he just sort of, he had all these papers and he just sort of threw them down. And it was like, I just remember, because I couldn't hear that well, but he was, I could see him saying, I don't know, and the chairman is really, pointing that out there. So
Or
very interesting.
yeah, Indigo, what are your thoughts on that one?
Uhuru, well, I really appreciated the chance to be there and to witness this. I think it's really significant that as the party has said and the chairman in the process of this whole appeal and and everything for the Hands Off Uhuru movement has been to present to the colonial state this question of like they have to try to resolve the fact that they're contradicting themselves. This
Mhm.
is, evidently a First Amendment issue. I really want to salute the Uhuru three attorneys who have
Yeah.
done so much really powerful work for this. Um, and definitely Attorney Leonard Goodman, who continued very effectively and
Yeah.
clearly in the face of and as as others have summed up, I think it's really significant that what the judges were asking in those questions and everything, um, it doesn't indicate which way they might rule.
Mhm.
We can't really
That's
say
right.
anything about that at this point. But I do think it did illustrate, as Chairman Penny, you and Brendan have also said here, the significance of just the fact that they drew out the content question and that this aspect of, obviously this is African
Mhm.
people fighting for the interests of African people, and us as solidarity, standing, for the liberation of African people and reparations, things that are the trajectory towards genuine social justice, what we want to fight for, what we want to see an end to genocide and colonialism and everything. So, I'm very confident in this whole fight back and in this being a victory for anti-colonial free speech.
Mhm.
Yeah, just overall for African liberation. So, uhuru.
I mean,
Rue Indigo.
I think it is. I would, Brendan, one second. I was
Yeah.
wondering, I do have some notes from a meeting I was in yesterday when the chairman, I just took some notes on some things that he was summing up about it. And, he was saying, first of all, that it was very, very important because the state takes on appeal questions that they do feel that it is something they have an interest in giving historical direction to. So it is, I think the way he was saying it is that there are unresolved issues that have to be resolved. And so whatever is chosen to go to appeal and to um and to be able to have oral arguments for an appeal, both of those things are very rare, as Comrade Jesse has pointed out as well. um but just for us to have gotten those shows that the chairman is saying, shows that there are issues in this case that need resolving. um,
Right.
And he was saying that many people were startled by the judge's attack on Leonard Goodman. And it was, and it was like a kind of lashing, it was, I mean, everybody's like, wow. I mean, not that I've been in that many court cases, but I've never seen a judge quite do that before. Um, but he's saying the court wanted to deny us the ability to make the issues dealt with in the speech that we are involved in something of consequence. And they kept saying this was content neutral and that the issue that we were was that we were paid by the Russians to say it. And they would not, and like the chairman was saying, they would not move from that. And you know Leonard Goodman, Attorney Goodman, was really attempting to like, no, that's not what, this is not the question. And they would not move from that. And, you know, one of the judges said, this is what you did, and you were working for the Russians when you did it. And they were exposing the intent of the state. You know, they were uniting with the state on this question. And but he was saying that what moderated, the chairman was saying what moderated his own understanding of, or, you know, summation of it, it was that their intent to move with the state to attack the prosecution. And when the judge asked the prosecution, how do you reconcile the acquittal of the foundational charge and the conviction of the conspiracy charge? You know, like we said, they couldn't answer. And Mutaki Akbar said that after that, 4 years later, with so many people, that, you know, he made it really clear, and we're going to hear from him as well, that this is a political question. And that's what he was saying. The leadership of the chairman in, you know, meeting with and winning and laying out politically this case to the attorneys, that was a very, very significant part of it, of winning, that this is a political case. This is not just a dry question of the law. So, yeah. And oh, I know they were saying that the judges were saying that the case, it should have been selective prosecution, you know, and he was saying, no, this is not what it was. So,
And I think Leonard actually touches on that a little bit. And
yeah.
the next, we've got some clips of the lawyers.
Oh yeah, let's
we've
listen to those. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead to the clip of Leonard Goodman, who put up a really incredible fight in that appeal hearing. Like Addie Griffin had said, you know, was getting pummeled by the judge, but did not back down at.
What I want to say, first of all, while I was giving this argument today, I was thinking about the federal prosecutors. You know, when they want to prosecute some old lady, some poor old lady for for a drug conspiracy because her son was selling drugs in the house and she was ignoring the signs. They ask for what's called an ostrich instruction, which is you can't put your head in the sand and not see what's going on around you. Well, it should have been applied to the judges as well, because it was a little shocking to hear them suggest that we are going to find that this was a content neutral prosecution.
Yeah.
That we weren't going after these people because they are pro-Russia, and it just so happens that we raided their home 3 months after Russia invaded Ukraine, and O'Malley started giving speeches saying we shouldn't be fueling this war by sending bombs to Ukraine. It's just a coincidence. No, it was because they accepted some $5,000 in legal donations from Russia over a 7-year period. And the only way you can find this is really to put your head in the sand, because look at, I mean, O'Malley mentioned Israel in the judge's comment. Well, you have to ignore the fact that President Trump took how many millions from Miriam Adelson, who's a dual born in Israel, and a direct quid pro quo so that he will enact policies in support of Israel. And I say this as an American Jew who was bar mitzvah in the north side of Chicago. So I just want to say it's been a real privilege to represent these people and to work with these great lawyers. I know what I've come to know about O'Malley and Penny and Jesse is that if the decision goes against us in the 11th Circuit, and I love O'Malley's hope, and I have hope also, because you never know what they're going to do once they take another look at the record. But I know that if it goes against us, we're going to be filing a petition for rehearing. Probably Angela suggested Angela suggested there would probably be an en banc hearing to the full 11th Circuit, and then when that's denied, we will go to the U.S. Supreme Court. So, Uhuru.
Uhuru, and there's the Uhuru, one of the Uhuru three lawyers, sounding more and more like a revolutionary every time he talks. So,
Powerful. Yeah, I mean, Leonard Goodman, amazing.
Yeah,
Very, very powerful.
And a major salute to him taking this on.
Pro bono.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very, very, very incredible. And I think that these attorneys want to go all the way. They're and like, well, we'll hear from Attorney Mitaki, but he's kind of like, well, this is why I went to law school, and I think several of them said that this is the kind of case that you want. This is once in a lifetime kind of case, and they loved it. They did such a great job, and they really united with again that what it means to take on a political case, where the chairman said they used the law to do a political attack on the African liberation movement.
Yeah, absolutely. So next up, we've got Addie Griffin. Yeah, another incredible one of the Uhuru three lawyers.
What struck me today when I was sitting there and I'm watching Len, and he's getting pummeled. I mean, they're coming at him, really truly coming at him. And it looks like they've got their mind made up. And it looks like they're just intentionally trying to almost embarrass him. But what he did was he maneuvered in that situation, and he continued to stand for this revolution, for our legal concepts. And he very articulately and intelligently explained that to the judges. He didn't bow down.
Right.
He didn't back down.
Right. Yeah.
He kept going. You know? Right. He is. And ultimately, we're here to change the law.
Yeah.
They're saying, oh, you don't have to know, you have to register it, and it's a crime anyway. And we're saying, well, you should. You should have to know. You shouldn't be able to be convicted of a crime you didn't know you were committing. And that's why we were there. And to get those judges to overturn a conviction, I also was thinking, I was sitting there about how in this jurisprudence, it's supposed to be more of an even playing field at this point. When you're at the appellate courts and you're giving oral arguments, they are supposed to look at these legal arguments and case law and facts and really apply them on a much more even playing field. And it didn't feel that way today. It felt like they were there, they had their minds made up, they were for the prosecution, he was the golden boy and he could do no wrong, and that's the way it was. And we find that in our practice a lot, actually.
I don't know what's happening here. My system
Or
crashing out a little bit. Sorry about that.
issues. But yeah, there was Addie Griffin, and yeah, talking about how during the appeals court, the judges are supposed to be neutral. But the point that she ends up making is, the outcomes are either, we win the appeal here, or, on the other hand, they say, no, uphold the conviction. We just take the appeal higher. So, just allows us to make a greater impact with this case. So it really seems to me like a win-win. So I don't know, sure, any Indigo.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I think that that originally the original judge, during the trial, did the verdict in a way that made it so that you could follow up, because you can't appeal, you can't set case law on a case you won. You can only do it on a case you lost. You have to keep going to the Supreme Court, going up, up the levels. So, and the thing that she was saying that Angela had said that they do this thing called en banc, which means, I guess, on the bench, but it's where all the judges of that group, whatever all the appeals judges in the 11th Circuit would come together in a hearing. Apparently, there would be that, I guess, where they would all come together to hear it. That would be like the next step, I think. And
Gotcha.
then after that, it could go to the Supreme Court. Oh,
Okay.
all right. Well, let's hear some more.
Yeah, I know we've got Mutaki's statement next, which was absolutely
Really powerful. Absolutely powerful.
do we think we're good with it? I don't know if you
Yep.
can even tell for sure. Okay. Yeah, let's hear from Mutaki.
Criminal defense trial attorney who graduated cum laude from University of Miami School of Law and is a managing partner at Akbar Thomas Law Firm in Tallahassee, Florida. He is the former president of the NAACP Tallahassee chapter and has organized to stop the current rewriting or banning of Black history curriculum in Florida schools. So Uhuru, Comrade Mutaki, I'll bring you up here. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Again, it's an honor and privilege to be here as a part of this legal team and to represent the I guess co-defendants in this case. The sum up I think has already taken place as far as like what happened. And I just want to like kind of bring perspective of what this is. There's a such thing called precedents in law that we work with. And when you think about precedents, sometimes the courts get things wrong. And when you think about, this guy named Homer Plessy back in 1896, who was recruited by a civil rights group to get on a train and sit in the cart amongst the white passengers. Right. He was taken off the train. He was arrested, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And they thought for sure when they went up to the Supreme Court that the courts would determine that his arrest or them keeping him out of that white cart would get overturned, that they would say like, this is wrong, Black people and white people should sit in the same cart. But the Supreme Court of the United States said that there was nothing wrong with Plessy being arrested or charged by sitting in that cart. And so the precedents that was set at that point in Plessy v. Ferguson back in 1896 was separate but equal was the law. And it wasn't until 58 years later in Brown versus Board of Education when that law was overturned. It took 58 years for the Supreme Court to determine or to decide that Black people and white people can sit in the same train car, which led to sitting in the same schools, and that led to desegregating schools. So the point of me saying that is that even if this court gets it wrong today, that doesn't mean that that is right. That doesn't mean that that should be the law. That just means that they're wrong. And so all the points that Lynn was bringing up at the Court of Appeals today, first of all, saying that you all were targeted, this group was targeted because of what they were saying. That's clear. The indictment said, we don't like the fact that they were spreading Russia propaganda or disinformation and sowing discord. But the same doesn't apply when people talk about or advocate on behalf of Israel. Yeah. When you think about AIPAC, yeah, they don't say the same thing when people advocate on behalf of other European nations, yeah, that go along with what the United States says, that goes along with colonialism and all those things. So it's only when you speak against what this government thinks you shouldn't speak against. So they might get it wrong in order to uphold this power, in order to uphold the colonialism, in order to uphold the fact that we need to tell you all what to do, how to act, and how to function. And the fact that it's not right means that we have to keep fighting. And I think like the idea of if we lose here, we go to the Supreme Court is almost an analogy of the fight continues. The struggle continues all the way up. And then again, even if the Supreme Court gets it wrong, that doesn't mean that they're right. When I became a lawyer, and I know it's some law students here, and I think it's important, one of the things that, well, one of the quotes that, and I'm a reader so I don't mess it up, that like led me to the career that I have, Charles Hamilton Houston, he was the dean at Howard Law School. And he said that a lawyer's either a social engineer or a parasite on society. Well, it says a social engineer is a highly skilled, perceptive, sensitive lawyer who understands the Constitution of the United States and knows how to explore its uses in the solving of problems of local communities and in bettering conditions of the underprivileged citizens. And so when I heard that, I think my first year in law school, that set the path of like what my career was going to be as a lawyer. Because as the chairman said, you know, the seed was planted when I was born. Yeah. As far as, you know, like my family, and not just my dad, but my mom and my grandparents, they were in the Nation of Islam. And so the idea of nationalism, the idea of like understanding who you are and you know, and independence and all of that was the seed that was planted. But the work that we do, not only as lawyers, but as like, you know, the Uhuru, and that's why I thought it was important to tell that story. And all of us who understands who we are, we have to be social engineers. We have to like continue the fight like that we talked about. We have to, you know, resist this idea that you have to just fall in line. We have to resist this idea that we can't not only hold the government to what they're supposed to be doing, which is important. Yeah. But I also don't believe in, just like, you know, like this organization, we don't believe in waiting on the government to do what we can do for ourselves either. So that social engineering also includes organizing ourselves. That social engineering also includes building our own schools. That social engineering also includes creating communities and building communities and having the doulas in our communities, going into, you know, places like South St. Louis or North St. Louis, I forgot, North St. Louis, and creating our own community, basketball courts and gardens and all of those things. All of that is social engineering. But you got to understand, with that social engineering, you become a target. Yeah. And we've been saying from the very beginning that it wasn't the conversations with the Russian that landed the Uhuru 3 where the Uhuru 3 was. It wasn't those, don't be fooled. It wasn't those conversations that landed them in federal court. It wasn't those conversations that led us to where we are today. But it was the work. It's the self-determination. That's the scary part. It wasn't the conversation with the Russians. It was the fact that this group have the nerve. They have the nerve to not only say what they want to say, to not only have that independence, but to also build on all of those things. They're not just talking about we gotta build community like a lot of these organizations do. They are actually building a community. They have stores, they have bakeries, they have gardens, they have nursery schools, they have all of these things. They can't criminalize that. They would if they want to. They can't criminalize that, so they're going to find something to criminalize. So we got to understand that doing that work is necessary. And the fact that it's so scary that you become a criminal for doing that work, because there's so many people who said certain things, but they're not building on it. Right. So that's what got them into federal court. Right. That's what got us where we are now. And we, again, This idea that we're going to keep on going to the Supreme Court is the same idea that we're going to keep on fighting.
That's it.
We're going to keep on going.
That's it.
And we can't stop. And again, like, as you know, when I got called, and I know my 10 minutes is probably different than the 10 minutes that Lynn had. It's a little bit longer, it seems. But I feel, you know, strong to make these points. You know, how I got on this case is, you know, representing protesters. And literally, like, people come to Tallahassee all the time and they protest. They fight against the craziness that we have going on in Florida. And they call me and they say, hey, this is about to happen, and I represent them. And so I ended up on this list of like conscious lawyers, some kind of way. And so that's how I got referred over to represent on this case. And when I first got the call, and I've said this before, when I first got the email, I thought it was spam. They said Russians and investigation, and I was just like, I literally ignored the email probably 3 or 4 times before I think they got me on the phone and say, look, do you want to participate in this case? And so I started looking into it, and of course I knew who the chairman was for years, you know, for like since a kid. So that excited me. And then, like, I started looking into the case, and I talked to my family about it. I was like, I don't know about this one. You know, I don't want you with a name like yours. I don't want you to get connected to something that you don't need to be connected. I don't want you to end up on some list somewhere out there. And I talked to my law partner, and my law partner was like, I don't know about this one. So I had to go, like, kind of do some thinking, you know, for myself. And that's when, and this brings it back to that quote, that's when that quote came back to mind.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't get my degree for anything, it would be for something like this.
Yeah.
It would be to fight for something like this, and to be a part of something like this. And so, so in turn, so fighting this case, the arguments that we made, you know, when we talked about, you know, I started off with saying Uhuru means freedom. Well, we had a bunch of meetings. We had a lot of, this is probably the most client attorney meetings that I've ever had. And we had like a few disagreements in those meetings. And one of the disagreements were like between the lawyers and the clients was, how much are we going to push who the Uhuru is, who the African People's Socialist Party is. And honestly, like, the lawyers were saying, we probably should water it down a little bit. You know, that's what we like. We probably should water it down a little bit. And of course, y'all, you know, the chairman, like, no, we're not. Yeah, no, we're not. And we had our own lawyer conversations, like, how are we going to convince them to water it down? And eventually, probably leading up to the trial, we were trying to figure out, we were just saying, like, we're going to water it down. We're just not going to let them know. Leading up to the trial. And something happened. I don't know what happened for all of us. By opening statement, we said, we just going to tell it like it is.
Tell it like it is.
And we're not going to run from who these people are. We're not going to run from the work that they're doing. And honestly, I believe that won the case.
I do.
I believe that the fact that we were able to, like, as the attorneys, argue, like speak from the voice of the chairman, speak from the voice of Penny Hess, speak from the voice of Jesse Neville, show the work that they're doing. And in the closing, all of us kept that up. And one of the things that I did in the closing, because during the trial, and I think the government probably regret playing this one video, that they played in, like, during the bus tour, and they were in Chicago, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was a group of sisters in a huddle, and they were talking to a sister that just so happened to be walking down the street.
Yeah.
And she was like talking to him, and they was telling her, like, this is the work that we do. We're doing this in St. Louis. This is why we're here. We've been intense. We want to spread this message of reparations. We want to spread this message of like what's going on in this country. And the sister that they were talking to was almost in tears. And she was saying, like I had no idea that an organization like, you know, does this kind of work. I had no idea that this organization like has been around. Like, y'all really have like changed my perspective. Y'all really made my day. Like, what can I do to get involved? And we took that clip and ended our closing argument with that clip, only to say, this is why they're here.
Yeah.
This is what the government is afraid of.
Yeah.
This is what the government doesn't want to spread throughout this country. And so no matter what happens after today,
Right on.
you know, and whether you're a member of the African People's Socialist Party, whether you are a member of the Solidarity Movement, whether you're a member of the NAACP, whether you're a member of your neighborhood association, I don't care what it is, like understand what we're fighting against and understand what and who we're fighting for. It's freedom.
Uhuru. Yeah, that was lawyer Mutaki Akbar. Just
Really powerful,
oh my gosh. Um,
really beautiful. Wow. So moving.
yeah.
Truly.
Jerome Penny, I don't know if you have
Truly a
somebody
tribute to the
that was-
chairman. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, just the chairman's leadership, like he was saying. You know, he was like, secretly, we were going to keep it quiet, you know, kind of thing. But they were, you know, they were one that they had to really put it out. They had to put out who the party is and what it does and not try to hide it. And it was, anyway, I think Attorney Mataki's statement is very powerful, very moving. I'm glad we were able to play that tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, Indigo, did you have anything on Mutaki's statement? I know you were there throughout the whole thing. And I think Mutaki's was a great one to top the lawyers' statements off with.
Uhuru. Yeah, I really want to salute Mutaki and the team of lawyers and obviously the party's leadership in contributing to the process of all of them becoming movement attorneys, part of this struggle. And I think it's really evident that that the party, that the African working class is leading this fight against, rule by foreign power everywhere, all throughout the world. And that's what we want to be part of. That's what, as the Solidarity Committee, African People's Solidarity Committee and Uhuru Solidarity Movement, we want to be part of that struggle. We want to join in this process, and we understand our relationship to this has to be, through reparations, and fighting for reparations and organizing the way we do in the white community for solidarity, with African people, with the struggle for Black power. I think it's really important that we it is evident that people can access this from any different direction, understand the question and the importance of reparations for the Black community, for African people, and in solidarity with that, and solidarity and unity with African people having self-government, self-determination. All of that is what we are part of, being here. And I just really appreciate the leadership of the party, and also of of the Solidarity Committee, Chairwoman Penny, Chair Jesse as well. 50 years, and today is 4 years since the raids. So, we're still, building and still advancing, still pressing forward on the strategy. So yeah, just appreciate, everyone. So Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Thank you, Indigo. Thank you, Chairwoman Penny, for the summation on just the appeal last week and the summation right after, led by Chairman and organized by the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Committee, and with Natsu Saito and Ward Churchill being a part of organizing that too, and a huge salute to them. And Chairman and Attorney Mutaki Akbar, summed up the basis for this attack, and it has everything to do with the work the Uhuru movement is doing on the ground to build these institutions for economic self-reliance. The Black Power Blueprint. This includes the Uhuru House, the Community Center, and Aquaba Hall event space, the Gary Brooks Community Garden, the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market, the Black Power Vanguard's basketball court, the Dula program, the Shambhala Uhuru, the urban farm, the bakery and cafe that is going to be open very soon. This up August, so next month, all of these, so many more, these real programs that are transforming the community. And as the name suggests, this is a blueprint that can be replicated in Black communities everywhere. And I just want to talk a little bit about one of the latest initiatives of the Black Power Blueprint, which is the Reparations Investment Company. We're just going to give a little update on this, the important work, and a little introduction if anybody watching this is new, not sure what the Reparations Investment Company is. We've got the logo right there. Reparations Investment Company, a new world under construction. Uhuru, if we can go to our next slide. And of course, I want to salute the leadership, who has made all this possible, carrying out this vision of, Chairman Omali Yeshitela and Deputy Chair Onisane Yeshitela. So salute to them again, leading all this work on so many fronts, and, the economic front. So next slide. And of course, I want to salute Chairwoman Penny Hess, my leader in the African People's Solidarity Committee, and of course, one of the Uhuru Three, and the vice chair of the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa committee. So salute to Chairwoman Penny Hess, and of course, the Black Power Blueprint, just as the African People's Socialist Party is the Solidarity Movement's leadership. Politically, this is the Black Power Blueprint guides the work of the Reparations Investment Company. So we're a part of the Black Power Blueprint and modeling our work after the Black Power Blueprint. So this is what reparations looks like in practice. So less than 10 years since the launch of the Black Power Blueprint in 2017. So Deputy Chair has led, the building of a community center, a bakery and cafe, workforce training program, affordable housing program, a basketball court, an outdoor event space, farm, garden, so much more, with the mission to build political and economic power by and for the African community. Uhuru, next slide. Okay, RIC is designed to build a reparations-driven model of community development. So positive investment restores and improves housing without displacement, expands Black community control over land, housing, and economic life. This goal to really build territory. We're liberating territory and investing in positive development. So next slide. Revitalizing North St. Louis without gentrification and displacement, and directly competing with gentrification. So making things harder for the city to come in and kick people out of their community, and the NGA and all of these other parasitic organizations. And here are the three properties, the first three properties that RIC has acquired and that are now under renovation. So there they are right there. Next slide. So this is just a little information, the greater investment in African self-determination. You can invest, anybody, watching, listening, checking the recording out later. You can invest with a minimum investment of $2,500. The term is so a 1 year minimum term, with a 7.5% simple annual interest on the return. So next slide. And of course, I want to salute our team. And there are some others that are not pictured here that we'll talk about as well, because the team is, of course, growing. But again, I want to salute, Chair of USM, Jesse Neville. He is also leading the RIC work. And of course, salute Vice Chair of USM, Amanda Carlozzi. And there's a lot of other incredible comrades in here. Camille, who Camille will hear from in just a little bit, leads the volunteer work of RIC. Kara, Leah, Comrade Indigo, who we just heard from, who leads the promotions work. Dylan, Jamie, Wendy, Virginia, Peter, Janet, Redbeard, and Johan Uhuru, and so many other comrades. And we've actually got some more slides here that we're going to take just 1 second to pull up. But I do, of course, want to shout out Chair Jesse again. He's not joining us tonight, but has been absolutely instrumental in leading this work, and just very, very. And I also want to say, if anybody has the chance to look back at the summations that we had just watched some clips from, Chair Jesse had sent over a statement that was absolutely phenomenal, that we didn't have the chance to play today. But I do want to shout that out because it was, fantastic and inspiring. So first property. So this is the Holly property in progress with a completion date of September 4th. And there's a picture of one of our volunteer days that we'll hear more about, that Comrade Camille leads, just having a bunch of people out there, getting this work done. So next slide. And then, so we partner with a lot of, local contractors. And one in particular that I want to salute is on Hell's team, Iliad Construction. And this is just some of the work that has been done the past month. So some tuck pointing that was done. You can see that bottom middle picture. This gentleman was working on the wall. It kind of bowed out above the window, and you can see in that bottom right picture, after they were done with it, it looks, perfect. And then there was a concrete path along the side to, stop any groundwater from leaking into the basement. The leveling of the front steps, the concrete steps in the front, and then some spot tuck pointing around the house. If anybody's unfamiliar with St. Louis architecture, a lot of very old brick buildings, and they require the tuck pointing to be done every so often as it wears down. So next slide. So next homes to renovate, the college property. So we will have a full renovation plan completed, ready for review by September 30th. And we will implement what we learned from renovating Holly to improve this process. So we'll have the plan laid out. We'll have these volunteers and contractors and partners that we've met through outreach and holding these volunteer days, working with us to really streamline this process, and getting the estimates, getting it done in a really streamlined fashion. So next slide. And then there's Harris, the quadplex, a really incredible building. I'm really looking forward to this one once it's done. It's going to be absolutely beautiful, and that will be a rental property once it is finished. So next slide. Uhuru, and I talked earlier. We had the picture of all the comrades in the committees. I want to salute two of the new comrades who are in the picture on the top right. I want to salute Jules, who is the new vice chair of the projects committee. So basically coordinating the contractor work and all of the physical work being done to the property, as well as Alex, who has joined Camille's team, the volunteer committee. So just want to salute both those new comrades. And I also, of course, want to salute Camille for leading the volunteer work and really having an entry point for people to get involved in this work and kind of take it to the next level of actually being a part of organizing, this important work that, Jules and Alex have both taken the next step to doing. And I want to actually turn it over to Comrade Camille to talk a little bit about the volunteer work. So, Camille.
Uhuru, thank you for the amazing presentation previously about the trial progress as well as the rest of the RIC work. It is so powerful and an honor to be part of all of the work, and to get to bring people into the work in this way is really rewarding. There is always something interesting happening with the volunteer team, whether we happen to be unsealing windows that have been painted shut by some very silly strategies in St. Louis of just sealing everything with paint, or we are removing some walls to add in some plumbing. There's never a dull moment. So we would love to have everyone and anyone come out and join us. There's always something to do, regardless of your skill or ability level. We can teach you anything you need to know. But if you already know things, feel free to teach us things as well. We've had some amazing volunteers who have some skills and have taught us things like getting ductwork melded in flush with the wall, which looks beautiful now. So really salute some of our comrades for that. And there are positions available on the RIC projects team as well as the volunteer team. And I know that other teams have opportunities as well. And so we would love to have you join us either for each volunteer day or on a team. So feel free to let us know either in the chat or through the contact message information that was posted in the chat previously. And happy revolutionary birthday to Redbeard. Uhuru.
Thank you, Camille. Yes, happy birthday, Redbeard. Hope you're watching. Yeah, incredible comrade, long time, veteran of the movement, has some really awesome stories, some organizing stories.
Absolutely. I want to salute Comrade Redbeard too, but also I think it was Kara's birthday, just Comrade Kara Lux just the other day, wasn't it? Last week.
Absolutely. Yeah, happy revolutionary birthday, Kara, as well. Another incredible comrade. We're going to hear a little bit about her work. Right now, I'm going to turn it over to Indigo to tell us a little bit about this.
Thank you, Brendan and Camille. And I also want to salute both of you as well as Kara and all the amazing work happening with the Reparations Investment Company. I will be presenting on Kara's behalf. She can't be here today, but yes, just really appreciate this committee. It's really important. The Reparations, Donor and Investment Committee. They do a lot of different types of work, but very essential and very impactful. So we can go to the next slide. So as it says here, there's many ways to be involved in this work. Including fundraisers, outreach with we are always seeking donors and working on accessing what we call the moneyed sector of society. People who have the wealth, which we understand as having been stolen, and we want to give people the opportunity to return this wealth and, support Black community self-determination, and they're investing in, a positive future without colonialism, without oppression. So, there's many ways to be involved. This is one of them, researchers on different organizations and just, people who we can access to, meet with potentially about this. Yeah, community engagement, all types of events, speaking at local churches, universities, other organizations. Those are just some of the ways that this committee, is active and you can be part of this work. So next slide. So we have, just want to salute all of the amazing contributors to this committee's work. Kara, Wendy, Janet, Amanda, Dylan Cooper, Vito, um, Leah, Mavia, and Hirsch. And these comrades are throughout the country and also in other countries. So, this is very possible to be part of from anywhere. And there's different, many different ways. So we just want to, if anyone is interested in being part of this, wants to see a new sort of, a future, a world, wants to be part of repair, investing in a system, we can overturn the damages, and unite with the leadership and the agenda of African people. This is one of the ways that you can be part of that. So we can go to the next slide. This is, a list of some of the really great, work in progress that has been made by this committee. We do a reparations challenge, and anyone who, has not done that yet or isn't planning to do one, we definitely, encourage you and would welcome you to, consider being part of the reparations challenge, holding events or any way that you can think of that you could, bring in, resources that could go to support this work. They had, held a really powerful event in Berkeley, about the reparations investment company. And that was, significant in many ways. And, we want to do more things like that. We also have, we want to build this network of investors, RIC ambassadors. And just on that point, we are going to have more things coming soon, including, like apparel, reparations investment company apparel, shirts, hats, that sort of thing. So just look out for those. Yeah, and then we have, many additional events. We have people active in San Francisco Bay and also Tacoma, Washington, Puget Sound area, taking this message out there and continuing to build the RIC. You can do that anywhere, and we can get those, materials to you to help with that process as well. One of the, this will be on an addition, next slide, but there is a really important booklet that's being developed, yes, about the reparations investment company, and we want to really appreciate and salute Francis, who is, based in Africa and has, been an amazing contributor to the process of developing these materials, as an amazing designer. And so this, as I understand it, we are getting close on the completion of this booklet, which will be something that we will produce and we'll make sure people have who are going to be interested in and going out and winning people to, be part of this, or, meeting with people to see if they may want to invest or donate to this amazing program. So yeah, that's, just some of the really important things that are happening. And just to say also that the Donor Investment Committee does have, upcoming events happening. Then, and to reiterate, they had an amazing interview they did with Deputy Chair Onizine Yeshitela, which aired on KPFA today, in SF Bay, I believe. And yes, yeah, so, and they have additional events coming up, in October and August also, with the local Unitarian Universalist Church there. And then, they have regular, yes, so they have this event and more coming soon, similar to this, that will continue to speak to this question and build support for reparations in Berkeley and in the San Francisco Bay Area, and beyond. So just want to really appreciate this committee. Yeah, and salute Kara very much so. So I think we can move forward. So now I will be presenting as the chair of the Promotions and Outreach Committee for the Reparations Investment Company. And we can go to the next slide. So yes, so we have been developing various sorts of promotional and outreach materials. As you see pictured here, this is actually an outreach board. It's large, which is something that you can get printed and take out with you whenever you're tabling, or if you have a booth somewhere or just want to spread the word about the Reparations Investment Company. This is a really dynamic and like a interactive sort of material that you could have. They did get one printed in San Francisco Bay, and have been working with that in their outreach as well. So I want to salute them for that, and definitely recommend anyone who's interested in building, wherever you are, building the solidarity and the reparations movement. This is one of the materials that we have that you can work with. We also have brochures, flyers, graphics, videos, short videos, reels, additional sorts of materials that we're continuing to develop. And we have articles which have been featured in the Burning Spear newspaper, and there will be another one that is going to be in the August issue, which will be coming out here shortly, which people can find at theburningspear.com. It's also available on Substack at The Burning Spear. Definitely recommend subscribing there if you have not done so yet. So, and then we have some new things coming. Well, one of them is we have created a Reparations Investment Company LinkedIn company page, which is really significant. This is a way that we're getting the word out there and continuing to build. So we want to encourage everyone to follow us there. Check us out on LinkedIn. And if you're part of this or want to be part of this, we would welcome you to connect with us, and definitely, you can share. We've been posting there anything that pertains to the Reparations Investment Company. And we're also going to be, having, that's like a key area where we'll be doing more recruiting, and making volunteer opportunities available for people to, be part of this. We also have some more things to come, including social media for the Reparations Investment Company. And also, we're going to be working on video introductions and, a sort of commercial, also an audio commercial, which would be more for like radio, all those sorts of things. And then also we're going to be doing more like sorts of videos, which are going to be based in, what's happening in North St. Louis, the intensity, and for one, the colonial conditions that the Black community is experiencing, and and their resistance and everything, and standing in solidarity with that as part of the white community. So look out for that, and we can go to the next slide. So there are many ways to be involved with this. If you're interested in fighting against colonialism, fighting to overturn it in solidarity with the Black community, under the leadership of the African working class, and have any interest in being part of the promotions and outreach, definitely reach out to us. There's many ways to be part of this. So we can go to the next slide. Visit our website, reparationsinvestment.com. You can sign up there. You can, to volunteer, to partner, to invest, or to donate, any and all of them. And then just want to really appreciate this whole process, and salute to the Reparations Investment Company. A new world is under construction. So Uhuru.
Ooh, yes, thank you. Thank you, Indigo, for that. A lot of really incredible things coming up. So I want to salute all of the leaders of RIC. So exciting to see all of this incredible work. We will be going to a Q&A shortly. Just a reminder to submit questions in the Zoom Q&A or in the YouTube or Facebook chat. I know we are behind. I just want to say, before we move on, I want to take a few minutes just to tell you how you can get involved in solidarity with the African people's struggle for liberation and support this work. So the most important thing we can do to stand with all oppressed people is to join under the leadership of the African Revolution. And that is what APSC was created to do. We had a goal today to raise $500 for the Uhuru Solidarity Center here in St. Louis. So go to apscuhuru.org/donate. And I do want to shout out and thank everybody who's donated so far. Uhuru Chairwoman Penny, Brendan, MQ, Becky, Lisa, Allison, and Janice. And again, I just want to encourage everybody, even if you're just watching the recording, you can go to apscuhuru.org/donate. We do still have, so we are at 385 raised of that $500 goal. So I want to encourage everybody to go and donate so that we can, get that remaining $115. So we want to call on you to contribute to the work of APSC and this incredible center. So apscuhuru.org/donate, and you can make a one-time contribution or become a monthly sustainer like Michael, Virginia, Leah, so many others who give every month. So thank you so much, and shout out to everyone who has contributed. And that, just to say that this center is a vital resource for people from the white community here in St. Louis to come together to plan, organize events, as well as do community outreach, host fundraisers for reparations, and, just solidarity with the Black Liberation Movement. So we want to call on you to contribute to that work. And just, again, thank you to everyone who has contributed so far. Let's keep going to reach our goal, and we'll announce any new contributions throughout the rest of the program. But now I want to just talk about another way, and another important way that you can take action, and that is by joining this committee, the African People's Solidarity Committee. You can go to apscuhuru.org/join, fill out the form. Someone from our membership office will contact you within 24 hours. And we can get started on the new member process, which includes political education and getting to work, contributing your skills and strengths to our mission of winning millions in reparations to the African liberation struggle and building a massive movement of white solidarity with Black power under the leadership of the party. So now is the time to bring all the resources stolen from African people for hundreds of years to the African Revolution. So join today. Go to apscuhuru.org/join. So, and as we head into the Q&A, I just want to recognize where people are tuning in from, and thanks to our chat moderators for pulling this together. We've got people tuning in from Southern California, of course, St. Louis right here, Newcastle, Pennsylvania, Sumter, South Carolina, Collegeville, Pennsylvania, Louisville, Kentucky, Mesa, Arizona, Columbus, Ohio. And I'm sure we've got other comrades on YouTube and Facebook around. So we can go ahead and, just move, shout out wherever you're tuning in from. And we can go ahead and move on to our questions and comments. Uhuru, Comrade Paulo says in a comment that we are winning. Uhuru. Really salute to Comrade Paulo and all the
Uhuru Paulo.
Uhuru. And new APSC member Virginia Wilson
Uhuru
posed a question. Uhuru, I didn't understand why the judges during the oral arguments seemed to behave as if they knew nothing about this case or the initial victory, and how they could see this so differently from Judge Jung, who seemed to be disgusted with the bogus charge. Uhuru, she says. So I don't know if Chairwoman Penny, if you want to try and tackle that.
But they did say, the judges did say, oh, we've read all this. We've read it. They kept saying that. We've read it all. We've read it all. We know. And so it wasn't them not knowing what it was. It was their disagreement with, basically with the party. I feel, they made that very clear. Like the chairman was saying, that they stood with the prosecutor.
Right.
They stood with the prosecution and backed it up.
Yeah. And one thing I keep hearing from the lawyers is like the behavior of the judges during the hearing isn't like indicative of how it will go. And while I was
That's
listening,
true. That's true.
yeah,
And the chairman said that, this doesn't, anything that we saw does not mean,
right,
we can't predict what they will say. They can do all of this as a sort of way of, communicating. Look, I don't know,
right,
but it doesn't mean that it doesn't. And I think that Leonard said that too, that
yeah,
we don't know how they will rule, and it will take several months. So we will have to
yeah.
see.
I have to be patient with that. And one thing I was kind of wondering when I would like after I had listened to it was, they were making all these kind of what I thought kind of silly questions, like, obviously like almost antagonistic questions. But I was wondering if they weren't basically asking Leonard to make their job easy and explain so that, there is absolutely no doubt that this should be dropped, that, the appeal should be granted, because, these are the arguments that they're going to be, or the points that they're going to be contending with when they're deciding this. So they, posted them to Leonard, and I mean, Leonard, I felt, expertly handled all of these questions. So what else are they going to be able to use to say, no, we can't grant appeal? So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't
Maybe
know.
I'm optimistic, but
I mean, in any case, it does have higher levels that it can go to.
right,
And
exactly.
that's the thing. If they rule against this, that's what, the attorneys have said, we're going to the next level.
Yep. Just
So
really just giving the party and the hands off Uhuru, hands off Africa, just a bigger platform to
absolutely. I
to
mean,
speak
yeah,
on.
let's go to Washington, DC and
Yeah.
take it on. I mean, yeah, everybody's ready. The chairman's,
Yes.
ready to go. The party, deputy chair, the attorneys, it's whatever they want. It's going to
Oh
go
yeah.
there. And certainly all of the supporters.
Everybody's fired up.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, we got some new contributions. I just want to shout out Ruby, Indigo, and Wendy, Comrade Wendy in Oakland, who's also
Great.
part of the organizing committee for RIC. So we've got some more contributions. Looks like we're still updating. We are at 435, but I don't think that includes Wendy's contribution. So we're getting very close.
Let's get it in. We need to pay for that for the Solidarity Center.
Right,
Put
absolutely.
it towards it.
Yes, 445. So 55 more to go to hit tonight's goal. So I do want to, urge everybody to keep donating. And just a quick look at the chat. I'm seeing a lot of supportive messages in the chat, and I really want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight to watch this and learn a little bit more about this incredible historic free speech case. So just want to thank everybody and keep donating. Again, if you're watching the recording, you can still donate. And
I just wanted to really salute that PowerPoint on the RIC. That was just so mobilizing. We really need to take that out everywhere. We need to be at churches. We need to be at temples. We need to be at schools and universities and really go. We need to just be all over, not only St. Louis, but other places. But we definitely, we have a lot of places. We have a lot of Unitarian churches. We have a lot of, they're progressive Jewish temples that consider themselves progressive. We have to go to them and speak and get on. We need to do that now. We need to, that's where the money sector is. That's where people, that's, the churches have money. People go to church, have money. So we need to, that's at least one place that we need to be.
And I want to say, like, we give tours of these properties. We give tours of the Black Power Blueprint. So if anybody's out there, knows a group, part of a church, that would be interested in seeing this work, you can do that. Reach out to us and let us know, and we will arrange it. And I know Chair Jesse was actually organizing a tour with a couple different groups. I think one of them was actually one of the Unitarian churches here in St. Louis. But yeah, and to any individuals who are online who want to come see it, come see it. It's here. We're not hiding it. So
also, there's a lot of talk pretty often about, white people that want to put their money in something really meaningful. And this is the meaningful thing. There's nothing else like it. Any place in the US or any place in the world where the African community is building its own economic development, with the interest of the African community at the heart of it. And it is so dynamic, so just the vision and leadership of Deputy Chair Ona, and she doesn't just do these programs. She just like boom, boom, boom from the Uhuru House to the Caribou Center, outdoor event center, to the basketball court, to the farm and the gardens and the and then the Uhuru Bakery Cafe. It's like a whole little neighborhood. It's really, really incredible. Very, very amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, you've got to come see it. So nowhere else like it. Nowhere else like it yet. Uhuru. So let's I do want to shout out Maureen, who just contributed an additional $50. So shout out to Maureen.
Right.
So that puts us $5 off of our goal. So I'm just going to go ahead and up my pledge to $55. Let's hit that.
All right.
A nice round 500, and
we don't need to stop there for anybody.
Exactly.
So thank you to everybody who's given.
Yes. Yeah. Keep contributing. There's no reason to stop. So let's go ahead and we've got some announcements to make, and then we can get some closing closing statements. So can we go to the announcements first? Let's if we can pull up those slides. Yes,
I love that. Okay,
in Tacoma.
I want to go to Tacoma. I want to be
right.
I want to dine for reparations. We need to do that here. But look at that table. That's so nice. Wow.
Yeah, some incredible cooks out there in Tacoma as well. This is an annual successful reparations challenge that they host out there. So dining for reparations out in Tacoma in the Hilltop neighborhood. And this is Sunday, August 2nd. Just want to really salute the comrades out in Tacoma. Uhuru, the biggest news, come to St. Louis, Saturday, August 15th. Be here.
It's going to be just even the grand opening program goes from 12 to 5. There are every major cultural, performer locally from here, Comrade Makeda's organized all these incredible cultural performers to be there. There's going to be something like 22 speakers from, all different professions and all kinds of people. And there's going to be food, and there's going to be, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. There's going to be pavilions and all kinds
I think
of
it's
things.
going to be bigger than the basketball court opening, which was,
it's definitely
incredible. Like hundreds of people.
It was.
and it
That
was
was amazing. That
yeah,
was amazing. But this is an orchestrated program, a
yeah,
grand opening program. That's going to go all
music,
day. Basically, it's going to be
yeah,
incredible.
best food in St. Louis, entertainment,
Absolutely.
speakers, just yeah. Can't encourage people to come out here enough. It's going to be great. And also on that the Dine for Reparations, there is a link. Let's get that link in the chat. There it is. Awesome. Thank you, Johan. Okay. Oh, and there's what it looks like. So you can get tickets if you are out in Tacoma, or if you just want to support. Go ahead.
Is there any way that I could get it, like, like special delivery?
Mail you a plate.
I want, yeah, could you like put it in overnight, like put it in one of those overnight envelopes and FedEx it over or something?
There's got to be a way. All right, but yeah, and that the bakery opening, it is from 12 to 5. And so you can enjoy food for purchase. There's also free samples. There will be live African music, drumming, spoken word, a community history exhibit, an African flag raising.
It'd be amazing.
Honoring Marcus.
4 flags are going to be raised at the same time, and they're going to have a drone going over to see it all. I mean, this is going to be
an awesome
incredible
video that people can see.
Right.
Be honoring Marcus Garvey's 139th birthday coming up next month. And the Reparations Investment Company will have a booth, so we would love to see you there. And this marks just a major victory for food sovereignty and economic development in North St. Louis. It was an incredibly, incredible battle that Deputy Chair led against the city trying to stop this.
Oh, the city tried to block it all along the way. It took over a year to get the permits to open a food cafe and bakery in an acknowledged food desert in North St. Louis.
Was a restaurant.
And a place that was a restaurant.
Yeah. So, but everyone is welcome. Free community event. Learn more at uhurupies.org. Okay, next. Now is the time to order bundles of the August issue of the Burning Spear newspaper, our best organizing tool. Go to theburningspear.store. And just as a reminder, you can find resources to support your spear distribution efforts at apscuhuru.org/spear toolkit.
Wow, next. Where are Wendy and Redbeard? They look like they're in Venice or something. I don't know. Where are they?
You can take
Where
it
are they
anywhere.
doing that? Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Maybe that's UC Berkeley, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, probably. Okay, watch and listen to the latest episodes of the White Lies Shattered Reparations in Action podcast. So you can check out the playlist of past episodes on the Uhuru Solidarity YouTube channel and on uhurusolidarity.podbean.com. Would you like to get involved with the podcast? We are building the team, looking for volunteers. You can email us at volunteer@apscuhuru.org. And I just want to say you can find out about these more upcoming events at theburningspear.com/events. And again, I want to shout out and thank everybody who donated, everybody who joined tonight. If you're watching this in a recording, shout out to you as well. Learning about this incredible free speech battle that the Uhuru 3 and chairman are waging and winning. Just letting everyone know, if you're watching the recording later, you can still contribute. Want to make sure everyone goes and visits uhurusolidarity.org and apscuhuru.org to learn more about the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, the African People's Solidarity Committee, and how you can become a member and join this incredible work, build white solidarity with Black power and unity through reparations. And I want to thank everyone that joined me on here today. And I just want to see, Chairwoman Penny, did you have any closing statements for our audience today?
Well, great job, comrade. Brendan and Indigo and everybody who is part of this. Camille, always so powerful to see you, and everybody who joined us tonight. And as always, I always have to give a special shout out to MQ. Really appreciate you.
MQ.
And always there. It's been there for the
Mhm.
whole 4 years of Hands Off Uhuru. I know that. So it's been a great event, and really want to salute again our leadership chairman, Omali Shatella, who is changing the world, Deputy Chair Ona Zanea Shatella, who's creating this new world under construction that is going to be a world in which we all want to live in which nobody lives at the expense of anybody else, where we don't have to see poverty and that this city is and this colonialism has imposed onto African and colonized peoples, and see this gap. We call that the Delmar Avenue divide, where you are in a very impoverished African community, but like one street away is the richest white community that's gated with mansions. And, it's just very stark to see. We don't want to live in that world. We want to live in a world where African people have power, have their resources, can live a prosperous, meaningful life of the liberation of African people, and no one, again, at the expense of anybody else. Uhuru.
Thank you, Chairwoman Penny, and salute the chairman, salute deputy chair, and salute APSC's 50 years of white solidarity with Black power, 50 years of reparations in action.
And we're going to have a 50th anniversary, by the way.
Yes.
We'll
so
be talking more
tuned.
about that. We're going to be planning it. So, Uhuru.
Going to be a big event, and again, 50 years under the leadership of the party. Solidarity, not charity. Unity through
Uhuru. Reparations. Uhuru, comrade. And Brendan, Indigo, I want to ask you something. Are we still on?